Hi, in this video we will see how the do-while loop works in C++. So C++ has three types of loops: the while loop, the do-while loop, and the for loop. So in this video we will see how the do-while loop is designed and used in C++. A do-while loop in C++ is a post-test loop. In a post-test loop, the body of the loop comes before the test of the loop. So the structure is exactly opposite to that of the while loop. In a while loop, first the test comes, then the body of the loop is executed. In a do while loop, first the body of the loop comes and then the test is performed to decide whether or not the loop should be repeated after that or not. So as you are coming down the program, you encounter the loop. More specifically, you encounter the body of the loop. The body of the loop contains programming statements. These statements are always executed the first time. But after first time, these statements will only execute if the test is true. Therefore, if the test is false the first time, the programming statements execute only once. But if the test is true, each time the test is true, these programming statements will execute. Therefore, the test follows the body of the loop, and the test is essentially a comparison between a value and a criterion. So when we perform a test, essentially what we're saying is that we are performing a comparison between either two variables or two constants or two literals or any combination of the above. If the test is true, meaning the comparison being performed evaluates to true, then the control of the program shifts back to the body of the loop and the programming statements are executed. So first time when you encounter the loop, the statements in the body of the loop are executed. After they're executed the first time, and they will always be executed the first time, you encounter a test. A test is a comparison statement. If the comparison is true, the control shifts back to the body of the loop and the statements are executed again. If the test is false, meaning the comparison done in the test evaluates to false, in that case the control of the program shifts beyond the loop and the statements in the body of the loop are not executed and the loop terminates. So a test has two possibilities. The test can be true. If the test is true, the control shifts back to the body of the loop and the statements in the body of the loop are executed. The other possibility is that the test is false. If the test is false, in that case, the control of the program shifts beyond the loop. The statements are no longer executed in the body of the loop and the loop terminates. So let's see how the control moves around in a do-while loop. As you're coming down the program, you encounter the do-while loop. More specifically, you encounter the body of the loop first. The body of the loop contains the programming statements. Since there is no test to be performed at the beginning, the statements in the body of the loop will execute. Therefore, in a do-while loop, the statements in the loop will always execute once, unlike the while loop, where if you fail the test the first time, the statements are never executed. So after the statements are executed the first time, the control shifts to the test and the test is performed for the first time. The test is a comparison statement. You compare value against a criterion. If the test is true, the control shifts back to the body of the loop and the statements in the body of the loop will execute the second time. After the statements in the body of the loop have executed the second time, the control will shift back to the test for the second time. And the test will be performed again. If the test is true again, the control will again shift back to the body of the loop and the statements in the body of the loop will execute the third time. After the statements in the body of the loop execute the third time, the control shifts back to the test and the test is performed again. So in other words, as long as you keep passing the test, meaning as long as the test evaluates to true, the statements in the body of the loop will keep on executing. However, if the test evaluates to false the first time, the second time, then the control will move beyond the loop. The statements in the body of the loop will no longer execute and the loop will terminate. So in a do-while loop, please remember that the statements always execute the first time, but after the first time, the statements in the loop will only execute if the test is true. If the test is false the first time, the statements execute only once. But other than that, as long as the test keeps on evaluating to true, the statements in the body of the loop will keep on executing.